Hey guys, what is up? It's your girl, Grace Tori, and I am back with a whole new podcast episode. Today we are talking about stories where OP's best friend started out as their bestie, obviously, and ended up being the worst friend on the planet. So there's a lot of tea, there's a lot of drama. Every single story has an update and should be concluded. They're all from Best Redditor updates, and we'll have the link down below so you can check for all the tea, all the comments, whatever you're feeling. Before I jump in, though, I have one quick thing. So, if you are new here, my name is Grace. I had a puppy named Evie. She was my absolute best friend, and she passed away a couple weeks ago. Because of that, I found out that the laws in Kentucky were terrible and not in our favor. So I go into that more in a petition down below. It would mean the world to me if you signed it. A couple of you brought up that you didn't realize you could sign it if you didn't live in Kentucky, which you can. You can sign it no matter what country you live in, what continent. It's totally free. It takes very little time and it makes a huge, huge difference. This is the most important thing I will ever ask you to do. You can read about it, decide if it's something that you think should be a law, and then if it is, go ahead and sign it. I really do appreciate it, you guys. Every single signature matters. I can see how many people sign from YouTube, and you guys are quickly passing up all of the other places. So that's pretty cool. I love the support of this community. You guys are everything to me, and I really want you to know that I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys so, 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 so much. It it's been everything to me through this heartbreaking time of like losing my best friend. But without further ado, we're not going to get too sad. We're going to jump into these stories and have a good time. But before I do, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow, all the fun things. Even if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, I didn't forget about you guys or all the other ones like Podbean, I think Google Podcasts, all the other places where I am. Hey, definitely follow along to get stories every Sunday and Wednesday. All right, now that all of that is out of the way, let's go ahead and jump on in. I'm Grace Story, and you're listening to That Girl the Podcast. Grab a beverage of choice and settle in, because the new episode is starting now. My 25 female, longtime best friend, 25 male, keeps messaging me from his honeymoon. I don't know how to end the friendship. Original post is from February 25th, 2016. This is a throwaway because I'm pretty sure that I'm going to get a lot of hateful messages and I want to protect my actual Reddit identity. Will and I have been friends since pretty much forever. We literally grew up together. Our mothers are best friends, and we were raised by each other's families in this sort of semi-commune type situation. His mom is like a second mom to me, and mine is the same to him. We've both always said that we lucked out to have two sets of parents and this huge extended family because of it. I see him as a brother, exactly as a brother. I feel the same way about him as I do my biological brothers. I've never had any romantic feelings for him, and it's honestly disgusting when people make jokes about that to me. I always thought it was the same for him because that's what he told me several times over the years. We all went to the same local university and lived at home, and by all, I mean me, my siblings, Will, and his siblings, to save some money and because honestly it's a great school. So, because we stayed so close, we all met everyone's significant others and really got to know them. I clicked with Will's college girlfriend, Sarah, who he proposed to last year and married last week. I couldn't be happier for them and to have Sarah as a sister in our weird little family, which is what makes this next part even worse because I'm not sure how to handle this. Will messaged me on their wedding night and told me that he had always loved me and had hoped that I'd feel the same way too, and he only got married to Sarah as a way to make me realize my feelings for him and fight for him. He had tried to provoke a reaction and he didn't love her, he didn't want to be with her, and now he just wanted to tell me because he'd leave her for me if I wanted. Men will do anything but go to therapy. Like, guys, sorry to stop, but what do you mean? Like, is she just a pawn? What do you mean? Y- You're just using this woman in hopes that someday maybe your friend who will like you. Oh my, this man is evil. I didn't know what to say, so I just signed out of everything for the night and cried because everything about that just made me feel sick. And it was too much, just too much to process. It was like my brother was admitting incestuous feelings for me. He's messaged me throughout his honeymoon, almost all of them begging me to run away with him, and a few of them were blaming me for quote unquote leading him on, which still makes zero sense to me. That part's giving nice guy. You know how, like, oh, like, run away with me. I'm such a nice guy. We'd be so happy together. And then turn around being like, it's actually your fault for leading me on. You shouldn't have worn what you wore for the past 25 years. You know, it's giving that. It's very much that. And I don't like that. Okay. Let's keep reading though with this rage that I feel now. Okay. I've never flirted with him. I act the same way around him as I do any of my siblings. Literally nothing is different. He said that he'd always see me in his head as the other woman, and because of me, he'd never be able to fully love Sarah, who he admits is, on paper, his ideal spouse. I don't know what to do because both of us stand to lose a lot no matter how this all goes down. I'm afraid that I'm going to lose my family because of this, and not just his side. Everyone is close. And if I'm identified as quote unquote the problem, I'm afraid that I'm going to be pushed out, but maybe that's what needs to happen. I really don't know. Reddit, how the F do I deal with this hugely effed up situation? I need some outside advice and don't have anyone in my life who doesn't know any of the people involved in this. Is it a bad thing that they don't know, like, that everyone knows everyone? Like, I would tell my best friend immediately, and I feel like the fact that she knows everyone would help her give me better advice. Like, you have to tell everyone. You have to tell Sarah, for sure, but you have to tell everyone. I know this sounds bad, but, like, while he's still on the honeymoon, that would be the time to campaign for yourself, like, to tell people and to be like, "This is what happened. What do I do?" Like, I'm really close with my mom. So I would probably tell my mom, but I don't know if I would tell anyone in the family without being ready for other people in the family to know, because I feel like there's a chance that they would find out. If you tell one, you tell all. So I would go to my best friend first and then probably tell like a few really close people to me in the family to like test the waters and then evaluate after that. But there is an edit for more information. Sorry I didn't include this to begin with, but I'm not thinking 100% clearly right now. I still feel just terrible about everything. More info. Our families live in the same house, and our parents shared parenting duties for all children. When I called out for daddy in the middle of the night as a little girl, both dads came running, for example. Our families are so intertwined and always have been, and I feel like Will just handed me this huge bomb. I think there's going to be massive fallout from this, and that breaks my heart. We're all very close and tightly knit. I keep cycling between sad, angry, and betrayed. I'm upset because I feel like he's tasking me with breaking Sarah's heart, and I hate him for that right now. I love Sarah, possibly more than he does at this point. The way my stomach dropped reading that, like, personally, I don't like this dynamic of, like, both, like, the families being that intertwined. I couldn't do it, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about Will, the fact that it was that tightly knit. Ugh, like, my stomach just dropped, like, this is so crazy, and I hate it. But let's read the update from 2 months later. Holy crap, it has been a stressful month. The original plan was to wait 2 weeks from the time I posted to deal with it with Sarah and Will, but I ended up spilling the beans to my mom around 3 days after the post went up. She noticed that I wasn't my usual self and pried it out of me like moms tend to be able to do. She was flabbergasted and honestly didn't believe me until I showed her the messages on my phone. She called my dad and Will's parents into an emergency family meeting, and we all talked about it. I broke down crying and told them everything that I had told you guys, and to my surprise, they rallied around me in support. We all ended up crying and had a really long talk about our combined family and what this could mean for all of us. It was agreed that something somewhere went wrong because while the quote unquote sibling flag was raised in my mind, when it comes to Will, it wasn't with him. I didn't get into this in my original post, but Will and I were the youngest. We were born just a matter of days apart, and he and I are closer than we are to any of our siblings because we always did everything together. He's my best friend, but more importantly, in my mind, in my heart, he's my brother. I expressed all of that to them, and they agreed that my feelings were what they were going for when they opted for a shared family, and we all felt like this was incest. That night, we started researching local therapists who deal with situations like this, and the next day, we chose one for me to go to because honestly, it was traumatic, and I had a lot of feelings that I just didn't know how to cope with. I'm still in therapy, and it's going pretty well. I'm dealing with a lot of crap and starting to feel better. I like the therapy idea. I should have mentioned that. Always go to therapy if you're not already in it. Even if life is going great, go to therapy. We decided to keep this between the parents and I until Will and Sarah got back from their honeymoon. The night they got back, we had a huge family dinner with her family there too. None of us, between the parents and I, were excited about it, but we couldn't cancel because it had been set in stone as the only time it would work for everyone for a longish period of time. I spent that night trying to keep my distance from Will because honestly, I couldn't handle being around him. He thought this was odd and it ended up cornering me outside in the garden. He thought it was odd that you were distancing yourself from him? Was he not there for the previous week of text messages he sent you? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm trying to process this and it didn't even happen to me. I can only imagine what you're going through. Like, the audacity. He asked me what was up, why I was acting so weirdly. What? I told him that he knows why and tried to walk away. He grabbed my arm and tried to pull me back toward him, but I resisted. I ended up breaking down and telling him that I would never and could never feel the way about him that he felt about me. I saw his look of genuine confusion and my heart and stomach sunk. He had no idea what I was talking about. What? 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 Those of you who guessed that it was Sarah all along were actually correct. Oh my god. I'm so sorry, Will. I said so many things about you. Oh my god. What? Guys, I did not see that coming. What do you mean? We have to keep reading. Obviously, we were going to. His phone went quote unquote missing during their trip, and he hadn't cared because he was excited to be on his destination honeymoon. I told him everything. He threw up into the koi pond, and we hugged for what felt like forever. Good. I broke down crying again because my knee-jerk reaction had been to cut him out of my life, and through sobs, I was able to get that out. He comforted me and told me that he understood because almost anyone whose friend and brother decided to hit on them would probably feel similarly. He said that he never hold my hurt reaction against me. We've been friends and family for way too long. Sarah's gotta go. She's crazy. I get it. She was probably, like, jealous, so she was trying to cut you out. Like, you know? But that doesn't make it okay. Like, I c just because I can see the logic doesn't mean that it's logical, if that makes sense. Like, what? Okay, this has been a roller coaster. We sat there for a while because neither of us knew what to do because, come on, this situation was effed. Eventually, our moms came out and flipped out when they saw us together and, like amazing moms, sprung to my defense. We got them to calm down and explained everything, that it had been Sarah, and Will's mom lost her cool. She went into the house and ended up apparently tearing Sarah a new one. I don't know all of what was said because I remained outside with Will, trying to calm down from everything. Fast forwarding a bit, Will decided to divorce Sarah. I'm sorry, like, I'm not one to scream divorce, but I feel like that's the only option here. Like, you can't trust her. That is such a violation in so many ways. And she had, like, literally the entire relationship slash friendship on your half to decide if, like, your relationship is something she wants, like, in a partner. Like, if that's a deal breaker for her. Because you can't tell him he can't have a friendship with you, but if she can't handle it, she has every right to, like, break up and find someone who doesn't have that. But she didn't do that. No, no, she didn't do the logical thing, the thing that a normal person would do. No, no. She did the crazy thing. It came out that she'd always been jealous when it came to me and absolutely hated me. Her goal had been to either get me to admit feelings for Will so that he'd cut me out or to get me to cut him out. It also came out that she had never been faithful to Will and had regularly cheated on him throughout their relationship. So, honestly, he dodged a bullet, albeit a bit too late. Will's moved back in, and we're both looking at finding a place together as roommates, and he's gotten into therapy as well to deal with everything on his end. So, in the end, my world didn't collapse and my bond with my friend and quasi-brother only deepened, but he ended up heartbroken. I'm so angry at Sarah for putting us all through that when really she should have and could have expressed her feelings to me and we could have probably addressed things, but then again, she was still a cheater. Just, ugh. I don't even know what to think. So, I guess it's a happy update. So, final comments, multiple people asked why Will doesn't file for an annulment, and OP responded, nope, he looked into it, but it's not an option for him in our state since he didn't enter into the marriage by force or fraud, and no party involved was unable to consent to marriage. Really? I thought anyone could annul. I don't remember where you said you lived if you said it, but that's interesting. Not that I'm, like, looking into it, but I don't know. I just always thought everyone could do it. Sarah has agreed to not contest as long as he pays for her filing fee, so all in all, the divorce is only costing him around $600 when all is said and done. Let's not forget the cost of the wedding and the honeymoon. Maybe even the engagement ring if we're getting, like, petty. But, yeah, I mean, in this specific moment, yes, $600. I'm chipping in to help, too. Thankfully, he had a prenuptial agreement and it clearly lays out who gets what, so she isn't taking anything that she didn't come into the relationship with, which is awesome. I'm proud of him for protecting himself. He bought a house a couple of years ago but doesn't want to move into it, so he's renting it out for the time being. Anyways, the divorce is as good for him as a divorce can possibly be, and he made jokes about having a really good divorce story now. LOL. So, the top comment for Best Redditor says, I guess those koi are not living. RIP, which I thought that too, but I didn't want to like get too sidetracked. And someone said worst part of the story, hands down. The real victims were coy, just innocent bystanders, innocent by swimmers, by floaters. Yeah, poor fishies. And then everybody's just talking about the koi, which valid. That was like a big part for me too. Big fan of koi, big fan of animals, big fan of fish. But I want to know your thoughts. If you're on a platform like Spotify or YouTube where you can comment, I want to know. So comment your thoughts. I don't care if you disagree with me as long as you are nice and kind and it's like a respectful debate. Like, don't be mean, please. I'm just fragile. I'm sensitive and there's a lot going on. I've s- I can't do it right now, okay? So you can disagree all you want. That's totally fine. Let's debate about it. But please be nice. That's all I ask. Am I the a-hole? My best friend of nearly 9 years ended the friendship after my female 27 wedding. This is another wedding one. I mean, it's wedding season, so it makes sense. All the Reddits that are like getting posted on Best Redditor are wedding ones, but I did not do that on purpose. Original post is from June 15th, 2026, so brand new. In 2023, I got engaged to the love of my life after nearly 6 years of dating. We waited a couple years for the wedding just because money was tight, but my parents offered their large backyard. At this time, my husband and I were playing around with ideas on what the wedding could look like. My best friend, who we will call Amy, who I reconnected with in college and had been basically by my side ever since we were both 18, did something amazing and offered to help us plan. My friend and I were fairly different, but I felt meshed together well. She was very much one to go step by step, and I plan in groups and am more spontaneous. I felt like during the planning process, there were times Amy and I's ideas clashed. A couple examples. When it came to my makeup, I just planned to do it with the makeup I already owned. I didn't have a full complete set, but I was willing to make do because I didn't have the money to spend on new makeup. Amy, seeing my makeup, proceeded to drive me to the makeup store and use her own money to buy me new makeup. When I tried to tell her she didn't need to, she insisted it was okay. That is a nice thing to do, but, like, it's one of those situations where if you are genuinely fine with not wearing that much makeup and you aren't the type of person who, like, has to wear a ton of makeup and, like, it doesn't matter to you, I can see how this would, like, hurt your feelings because it's, like, ultimately your decision what makeup you wanna wear. It's less about the money and more about, like, I had a vision of how I'm gonna do my makeup and, like, you have your own vision, and so you kinda, like, you know, took away my idea and, like, made it your own. I feel like it's not about the money and it's more about that, and you were kind of using that as, like, an excuse to not have to say that, but this is just a hunch. My wedding theme was tea party themed, and we wanted a variety of teacups and water glasses. We slowly gathered the cups, teacups, and teapots for the wedding. Amy was certain that the glass cups were a bad idea and we should ditch it. I told her that it was a decoration I really wanted as a piece of the wedding, which she said wasn't a great idea, but she couldn't force it, and it was done. Yeah, that's another thing that's like you have final say as the bride. Like, how pushy was she? Because if she said like once, I don't think that's a great idea, and you kinda just, like, were already on edge because of her opinions, I can see that, but if she really, like, tried to force it, I can also see that too, like, I'm still in the middle, guys. Also, I haven't slept in 2 days because my bunny was in the emergency room, and now I'm giving him, like, round-the-clock medication, and very stressed. I've been very stressed about it. So, if my takes are a little off, I'm sorry. I have not thought clearly and days. I'm very delulu right now. I just need a nap. So, bourbon's fine. If you guys saw that post, that's why my stuff was late on Sunday. Sorry for like the side tangent. He's just heavily medicated and hopefully on the mend, but I am not fine. It's been a lot. So, forgive me if my judgment is a little clouded. Please don't hit me too hard. I I I can't do it. I want to add her family was of immense help as well. Sound system, food, etc. was provided by them. Decoration and setup takedown was done by them and part of my family as well, but mostly them. I could not show my gratitude enough, and my husband and I swore that we would absolutely find a way to thank them after the wedding. At every turn that I said, I don't know if we'll include this, can't really afford it, she returned with a, no, I know you, and I've known you'd want this. We were incredibly grateful and insisted that we'd find a way to return the favor and show our gratitude. We were planning either a large fancy dinner or treating my friend to a spa day, something. This is hard because I'm jaded. So whenever I borrow money, I don't anymore, unless I absolutely don't have a choice. But if anyone buys me anything, like, I do kind of assume that there's an ulterior motive or, like, an unspoken, like, I have to pay them back, because that's how it's always been as someone who had some toxic situations in her formative years. So that's where I can, like, understand, like, she's doing it out of the kindness of her heart, but you may kind of see it as, like, an obligation or, like, it may be stressful because you're like, "Now I have to pay her back, and I don't know if I'm ever gonna be able to," like, yeah, but also, like, that's really, really nice of her, and I could see friends doing this and it being out of the kindness of their hearts, so I can still see both sides. I'm gonna stop saying that and actually read it because I'm like, "Dang, I'm still on the fence." Wedding went great, loved it all, and we all rode home in Amy's car. Amy was silent, and when I had asked if she was all right, she said she was super tired from everything, which I understood. She dropped me off at my home, and that was that. We didn't talk for 2 months after that. That's a little weird, a little red flag, but maybe not. I wasn't too worried at first because there had been times where, when exhausted, she'd take time for herself and not talk much. But this was way, way too long. I eventually sent her a message letting her know that I love her and that if there was an issue, I'd want to talk about it because I didn't want her sitting with the issue alone. She proceeded to text me, telling me that she no longer wanted to be my friend. Oh? She said she did have issues with our friendship and that she'd been hurt, quote unquote, many times, but she didn't want to, quote unquote, air her grievances, her words, because she wasn't wanting to discuss it further. I felt left with no idea what happened between us, and I still feel that way. Reddit, I've wrecked my brain in every possible way to think of things I've done to hurt her feelings so much that she'd end this friendship this way, and all I'm going back to is the wedding. Looking back, I'm thinking maybe she was overwhelmed, or the way my husband and I were going with planning stuff out wasn't working for her and hurting her. But anytime I had told her that my husband and I had something handled, or that we were okay with things working one way and not the other, she insisted it had to be done or else things would be greatly confusing. I'm worried that I'm an a-hole and that I should have cut her from helping plan earlier, at least recognize that our planning ideas wasn't going to be good for her, and that it'd be okay if she was just a bridesmaid instead of all else she did. I even told her if my wedding was just everyone at picnic blankets and eating deli sandwiches, we'd be happy because it still would be the day my husband and I got married. So I don't know. Was I a huge a-hole? Okay. There is an edit. Okay, 4 hours in, a majority is that I am the a-hole overall, and I'll take that responsibility. I'll just say what I'm gathering at this point. Main reason I posted this was because I never wanted to make an F up this major again in a friendship, and it seriously has been weighing hard on me that I hurt someone so important to me without me to the point they didn't want to see me again. So, thank you for pointing out my flaws. Essentially, her family did a lot and deserved more from me, even if there was denial of that from Amy. Her and my differences are separate than her family members, and even if I thank them with words, I should have had something ready for them so I could give it to them then and there and not to send later. That was irresponsible on my end and doesn't show the appreciation we had. I can agree with that. Like, why did you wait 2 months to reach out and not, like, text her sooner? I mean, even if you went on your honeymoon and texted her, like, the day you got back, I feel like that was more understandable and just be like, "Hey, I know, like, sometimes you're overwhelmed and you need your space, but we still wanna do something nice for you. We really appreciate everything you did." So I do agree with that. Another point is I should have given something in return to Amy personally as well, probably before the wedding itself too. I should have shown that appreciation because it sounds like from what you guys have said, she left the wedding and probably just called the friendship then and there. I should have done much more for her before the wedding so she felt that appreciation through and through instead of letting it get to that point after and her feeling disappointed. This is true. This is why I'm like, I don't know if my take is great because I agree with that. Like, you didn't force her to do those things, and you probably were, like, wedding planning, which I've heard takes up everything and very much, like, in that mindset and not, like, fully thinking about her, which does kinda make you the a-hole. But we also don't know, like, were you, like, treating her to food while you were wedding planning, like, taking her out to lunch or, like, giving her appreciation in that way, like, because you said you were constantly thanking her and telling her she didn't have to do that, so your words were there, but do the actions, like, match that? That's, like, where I'm like, "Okay, what about those situations?" Like, where was the gratitude in your actions and not just, like, in your words, I guess. I did bring up religion in one response, so it feels appropriate to say here. They are all LDS/Mormon, and there was expressed concern in the comments that perhaps someone had issues with them being so and made them feel unwelcome. While I can't guarantee it didn't happen because I had guests who are friends that are not religious or LDS, I will say I didn't witness any of it. I can be certain my family didn't, as my in laws are also Mormon, and there's mutual respect even if my family isn't LDS. I should have been more vigilant though, as they again did a lot for us, and I should have made sure that they felt special as they were for doing all of it. I need to be more responsible and notice when a friend is giving too much. I worried about it, but Amy always said she was fine and I accepted it at face value. I should be more aware of how my friends are really feeling. As someone who is president of the I'm fine when I'm really not club, you should check in, but it's also important that she reaches out and like communicates when she's not fine. I, in therapy, obviously, like, have talked about this a lot, and my therapist is like, how are people supposed to know if you're not fine? If you say everything's fine and you have this mask on and you act bubbly and great and like nothing is wrong, people are going to assume nothing is wrong. So while you probably could have pushed it more, and there probably were instances where you could have showed gratitude more, I think that it's also important that people who say they're fine when they're not, like myself, and carry the burden of like everybody else, and we give because we feel like we have to for whatever reason. We also need to learn when to ask for help and advocate for ourselves as well. So, does that make her the a-hole for not telling you that she wasn't fine? Not exactly, but I think it is something that should be brought up for the people listening because, guys, if you're not fine, don't pretend you are. Okay? I love you, and I don't want you to get to a point where you're like at your breaking point and you feel alone because nobody's checking in on you because they think you're fine. I've been there and it is horrible. You just feel so isolated. Another point is OP says I'll be more direct and immediate in my appreciation towards people I love in the future instead of after. To explain the 2 months thing, I just want to clarify I attempted multiple times to reach out to Amy with no response. I backed off about a monthish in because I didn't want to seem pushy, but that doesn't excuse that. Like said above, I should have done something even before the wedding itself. I want to know like what you did to reach out. Like what did you text her? Was it like a hey, just checking in, or was it like a thank you so much paragraph? Like did you send like something in the mail? What were the multiple attempts? What did that consist of? Guys, I had a thought today. So, one of my friends left me on red, and I got so in my head about it. I was like thinking about what I said. And I keep in mind I haven't slept in 2 days, so I'm very emotional. I'm also in my luteal phase. If you know, you know. And I was just like emotional and irrationally thinking. And I was like, what did I say? Oh my gosh, she hates me now. Like she hates me now. Like I guess like that could be offensive if you looked at it through this way. Like it was just a joke though. Like and again, it wasn't anything bad. Like I was just rationally thinking. And I was like, yeah, she hates me now. She's never gonna talk to me again. And then I was like thinking in my head, I was like, girl, you are 27 years old. She's around the same age. Like when people have issues like this as adults, they'll just bring it up. We'll just have a conversation. Like if she has a problem, she will tell you, okay? She's not just gonna abandon you and never talk to you again. Okay, clock those abandonment issues. Like maybe it was just the end of the conversation because it kind of was. Like there's really nothing to say to that. It was kind of crazy to have that realization. Like you can actually talk things out and you don't just stop being friends because they didn't like one thing you say. Growing up, crazy. So we'll read a relevant comment. The first one is, in what way did you recognize her and her family's contributions to the wedding preparation and music, food, both expenses and effort? Did you thank them publicly during the reception for what sounds like a massive amount of help? Did you send them effusive thank you cards for the help and costs they covered? At what point did you gift her a spa day? The grievances she does not want to air are probably that you took great advantage of her and her family's generosity and did not properly acknowledge or appreciate the effort they put in, which is true. Your total cluelessness suggests that something happened at the wedding. Gifts to bridesmaids and not her, failure to acknowledge her family, something that made her feel unappreciated compared to others, or that you were doing a splashy honeymoon when she covered so many costs, or you treated her like a worker instead of a friend at the ceremony, or you didn't invite her to bridal party activities. Clearly, something occurred during the wedding reception that upset her. Your lack of awareness does suggest you might be the a-hole. That's what I was thinking. Either she was just waiting for the wedding to be over and she'd been feeling this way for, like, a little while, but then if she was continuing to help and be supportive throughout the end, something probably happened at the wedding. OOP responded and said, "We did thank the family publicly and also offered to pay, which they denied, which brought us to the idea of larger thank yous and gifts. When it came to sending cards, I wanted to and asked my friend for the address to send. However, she refused, saying they didn't want a big thanks or anything. I think you're right that I may be looking at the wrong things and should more reflect on how I was at the wedding or wedding activities itself and my behavior with it." Another commenter said, "Amy and her family exerted all their effort and resources to pull off this wedding for you, with you, and even rode in her car, dropped you home, and you say, that was that. You didn't even contact her the next day to thank her or even ask her out for lunch as a gesture of appreciation. You don't know what happened that led to this, but you came here with a list of things you've clashed with her, but can't come up with a list of actions you can do if you're genuinely concerned about the fallout. Have you ever thought of hitting the road and visiting her personally, or even flying out if need be just to show you really care and you're grateful as you said you were? Based on what I know here and or the lack thereof, you're the a-hole." Yeah, that's the thing is, like, I've been saying it this whole time. I'm like, there's a lot of things we don't know. There's some information missing. So OOP did clarify, and said, here's some things that I didn't think about including. All during wedding, her and her family were given thanks publicly during the wedding and also thanked privately before, morning of, and during takedown. I know I'm trying to sound backtracky here, but I literally cannot express how much "thank you so much, you have no idea how much that means to us" was said. During setup and takedown, when me or my husband had free time, we did offer to assist as well because we felt bad that they were doing this for free, but that was declined. In terms of thank yous and appreciation, when talking with Amy, she insisted her family would not want any appreciation gift or thank you present stuff. In the 2 months she stopped talking to me, I did ask for at least their address so I could send something, because not doing so had me feeling like I took advantage of their generosity. She never gave the address. Honestly, I took responsibility in being the a-hole there, as I should have totally had something for the wedding day itself and shouldn't have waited until I was home. So there is an update from 1 week later, or June 22nd, 2026. To those who hadn't seen the original post, my best friend helped me plan my wedding, and there were bumps in it regarding execution of said wedding. She helped me with so much, and so did her family, and 2 months after the wedding, she told me she no longer wanted to be friends. OG post judgments were overall I'm the a-hole. I'll be honest, I didn't feel great and I ended up reaching out again with more of an apology focused on not showing enough gratitude, and that in the end, I should have had more prepped for her and the family. The response was not as expected. Never was about gifts. Ooh, she put a period too. Yeah, that's tense. So it turns out that during the entirety of the planning, I wasn't up to speed enough, nor was my husband, fiance at the time. The examples I had listed, like the makeup, cups, and others, were actually the piling of straws that eventually broke the friendship camel's back. I didn't list out all examples, but there were other things that occurred like them. I don't want to hide things, so this is what came up. One, we hadn't bought everything necessary, like the cups, plate, etc., in timely manner. Everything was there eventually, like a month out, but exact count wasn't given. So was she buying these things because she felt like you didn't do it soon enough and not because she was being generous? Is that how am I reading this correctly? RSVPs had not come back in the time we wanted, and seating order wasn't decided until that month out. Honestly, from what I've gotten back, it sounds like things were not as organized as hoped, not just slowed, that we were just too different for the friendship to continue. It was too stressful to have an idea of what was needed, and then for that to not happen in that timely manner. So, or did she offer ahead of time? Like she offered way, like, I'll help you with like cups and plates and stuff. And then she was upset you didn't give her the final count until right before. So that stressed her out. Cause that's different. If she offered to pay a month out, that's one thing. But if like she said she would do it and then you got her the count like last second, that does make you like much more of an a-hole, in my opinion. Looking back, yeah, planning styles were different, and I can understand how that would absolutely piss someone off. Like one comment mentioned, and I agree, I should have noticed the signs sooner and taken more initiative to either catch up or say that my husband and I could plan this independently. What mattered more was just having her be present as a bridesmaid. I'll take it as a learning lesson and move forward with just being more mindful of the friends I have. So another comment. So yeah, you could have done better before the wedding. I'm just curious, but did you thank them officially like during the reception or anything? But by not telling you what the issue is, even after you've done some soul searching and are truly sorry, is petty and childish. What might have been a legit grudge has now devolved into you should know what you did territory and is not worth any more effort on your part. This is what I meant with going back to like, don't say you're fine if you're not. Like, you need to communicate. Um, yeah, it sounds, yeah, I don't know. A conversation is a two-way street, and at this point, you're apologizing to a wall. If you share a friend group on a shared social media platform, you may want to just go out and make a public apology as a way to CYA in case she starts bad-mouthing you. Also, including somewhere that you are not sure what you're apologizing for since she won't tell you. Then wash your hands of her. At this point, she values her grudge against you more than your actual friendship, and why waste more of your money on something like that? OP said, just to answer, we did thank her during the wedding publicly. I agree I could have done more and appreciate your words. We don't have any shared friends, and the other bridesmaids are aware of this happening, but are my friends still. Yeah, I want to go as far as to do a public apology because it's like you're giving in to like her pettiness, like you're like groveling, and I feel like that like she's just gonna keep pushing. The best thing to do is do it in private, and like since she's not receptive, unfortunately you just have to move forward. Like that sucks and it's sad, but at some point you just have to be like, okay, she's not receptive. Maybe she'll reach out to me. I've done all I can, like once she calms down. Commenter 2 said, I don't know if you're an asshole, and I read both of your posts. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I'm like, well, there's pros and cons. My experience with LDS members is that they're very kind, generous, and sometimes problematically so. There was no reason for her to volunteer or insist on bearing so many of the wedding expenses. I'll even go so far as to say that it was inappropriate and a violation of financial boundaries that you tried to set but backpedaled on when she insisted. If she felt exploited, well, it's on her for insisting on doing so much and doing it her preferred way. I suspect that she and her family were possibly hoping that you would make a donation to their church as an expression of gratitude, or if someone in their family was preparing for a mission, perhaps contributing to that cost. However, and I emphasize this, you are not a mind reader. And if you're a fly by the seat of your pants and wing it kind of planner, while she's a super organized and anticipatory planner, these individual differences will not work well together. It's a shame that she's holding unspoken resentment against you because ultimately this was your wedding. There's no crime in buying tableware a month in advance, and same goes for seating arrangements. Yeah, I've heard people do seating arrangements literally like a week before. Is that last second? Maybe, but I feel like a month for seating arrangements is okay because you should have a pretty good idea by then. And you don't want someone to say they're coming like last minute who just doesn't vibe with everybody and then change all the seating arrangements. I don't know, maybe that's me, but I would rather do it closer to the day. I suspect that she had unrealistic expectations and huge control issues. She literally bought your makeup when you didn't want new makeup, and her feelings aren't really about you, but about her. At least now you don't have to worry about kissing her butt while being performatively grateful for the rest of your life. I was thinking that. I didn't want to say it, but I was like, is she just being really controlling? Sounds like she's being really controlling. Okay. Okay. This is interesting. So, best of Redditor top comment is the first judgment on this Am I the a-hole absolutely insane or am I? Thank you. Okay, cuz I was like, I mean, I can see where she's the a-hole, but like also I don't understand like she was grateful. Like yes, the 2-month thing was kind of crazy, but like up until then, yeah, you guys heard me. You guys were here, you know. Someone commented in response and said, nah, that was bonkers. OOP never asked them for any of it, repeatedly attempted to compensate them in different ways and was rebuffed, repeatedly attempted to cut back on the work and investments they insisted, almost to the point of rudeness on giving, repeatedly checked in about their feelings and needs throughout, and was profusely gracious and grateful in public and private. So the worst thing she seems to have done is not be as organized as the ex-BFF wanted, or she might have missed something rude some unknown individual might have said about the ex-bestie slash her family's religion. This was clearly not about OOP. It's crazy anyone would blame her for apparently just not being a mind reader. At least with the second post, people use their brains before commenting. Yeah, okay. We only did 2 posts again today because they just took longer, had more commenting, they were longer stories, but I will have them linked down below as well as timestamps. I want to know your opinions though. Their bestie weddings again. Wow, crazy. Didn't mean to do that. I'm gonna edit and get this up. Then I'm gonna go to bed because I'm exhausted. Again, please don't hate me if all of my takes are off or crazy. My brain is not working. I am exhausted. I have a 2-pound tornado who has to take medicine at like the craziest times. Catch me syringe feeding him medication at 3 a.m. And making sure he drinks water. He has three different water sources because he won't drink water. Sorry, enough ranting. Please don't forget to sign the petition if you care about animals at all. You care about me, you care about Kentucky, any of those three things. It would be really, really cool. It's free again. You can sign it from anywhere in the world. It would mean the world to me. Like, if you have been here for a while and you know, like Evie, even if you haven't, she used to sit behind me in every single podcast episode. She was a huge part of me and my identity, and like a massive piece of my heart went with her. So, you guys loved her too, and I really appreciate the love that you showed her. But if you could put that love into just one signature, that would be enough for me. I have Rippy with me right now, and he is insisting we hang out. So I'm gonna go and I guess edit while I hang out with him. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, listening, being here, and I'll catch you guys later.